All right. Hey, Bulldogs fans, we're excited about 2025, implementing some new things on both offense and defense. We're really excited about what work we've gotten in this summer. We had about 90% attendance through June and about 60 to 70% attendance through July. So we feel like we're working in the right direction and have the opportunity to make quite a bit of noise this year. Open for any questions you all have.
What were your main coaching points during summer training to assure your players are successful this year?
So main things were, one, we've got to know assignment and execution. We have to know what our assignments are. We have to know what we're going to be, what to do and how we're going to do it. And then intensity, attack every single play, every single day with 100% intensity, and then that goes into effort. If you don't know what you're doing, I can deal with that. But if you don't know what you're doing and then you don't try, I can't deal with not trying.
Media Press, Ingalls, Bulldogs Media. How do you feel about becoming the new coach for Ingalls football?
I'm excited about it. I think there's been a really great foundation laid over the last several years. I've obviously been close to this team in the past, having coached against them. But I think, like I said, over the last several coaches, there's been really great foundation built, and I'm ready to build on that foundation that's been left.
Genesee Stoudemire, Ingalls Bulldogs Media. What are your expectations for Isaac Berry and Deshaun Dunnigan for this season?
From what I saw this summer, they put their expectations very high of themselves. Deshaun's very, very strong in the weight room, probably our strongest player this year, and I expect really both of them to, one, increase their strength throughout the season, but two, to get to understand the playbook a little bit better. And we've seen, through the first day of practice, we saw that, and over the summer they were the first ones to ask questions if they didn't understand something. So I expect both of them to be, honestly, two of the best offensive linemen in six-man this year.
And do you see them being a role model for the team?
Yes, absolutely. Both have stepped up. Both are willing to go above and beyond, not just them, but the other two seniors, in Daniel Steinmetz and Xander Christensen. I offered them the opportunity halfway through the summer and told them it was completely optional. I wasn't going to hold it against them if they didn't want to do it, but they took the opportunity to come up on a Friday when we didn't have weights and organize the weight room, clean the weight room top to bottom, and I think that speaks volumes to who those four are as individuals.
So, as a new coach, what is your vision for the Ingalls football program this upcoming year?
Honestly, everybody's going to say state championship. Obviously, all coaches, they start coaching because they want to win championships, or they start the season hoping for a state championship. But if we get there and we are able to win a state championship, but we don't have humans or men that are better human beings at the end of the year, we failed. So over the next 11 to 15 weeks, I want to instill in the kids that to be better sons, better eventual boyfriends, better eventual husbands, better eventual dads. We've got to develop as a staff and as a team and as a school that we've got to be humans that are going to be able to provide to a society at some point in our life, and that's what the whole goal of this year is.
What are your strengths and weaknesses as a coach?
I would say that one of my strengths definitely would be organization, in terms of I know that I have X amount of minutes. How am I going to utilize these minutes to the best of our ability? How are we going to be efficient? And I think that giving power to the coaches that coach alongside me and to our senior leaders, I think that's one of my big strengths. I say weakness is probably trust in myself with play calls, and trust that that what I'm seeing is actually what I'm seeing, and trusting myself to call it out on the field.
So along with that, you mentioned maybe some challenges, those weaknesses. So what are the challenges you anticipate for the upcoming season?
So anytime you start with a new coach, there's going to be a little bit of a delay in maybe learning some terminology and maybe learning some of the playbook. I'm trying to keep it as simple as we can. I like to use the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to football. We're going to use the same terms that hopefully have been used here for several years, and that if any of these guys want to go on and play at the next level, they're going to know these same terms. But just in terms of the way we call things is going to be a challenge, because it's a little bit different than what has been called in the past, and just getting kids that maybe didn't spend as much time up here with us this summer, getting them immersed into the playbook and getting them to understand what we're looking at and what we're looking for.
Genesis Stoudemire, Ingalls Bulldogs Media. So you guys have some tough games this season, and the football team has lost in the same round for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So as a new coach, what do you expect for your team, and what are you going to do different to allow them to get farther?
What I expect, and I've preached this all summer, and we preached it yesterday at the first day of practice, is I am never going to stop coaching you at 100%. I do not expect you to stop playing at 100%. I don't care if we're up by 100 or down by 100. We have to give the same effort. I've been fortunate enough the last couple years that I've been able to see a professional football team, how they approach the playoffs. And so I'm not sure how they've been approached in the past here, but that's going to be kind of my focus is, when we get, 6-8 weeks into the season, there's certain things that we shouldn't need to work on anymore. And I hope that we're at that point. When we get late in the season, it really practices are cleaning up stuff from the week before and just a few small minor adjustments come game week.
What are your expectations for all your players academically and behaviorally?
So some of them got to experience what my expectations are of them behaviorally. If I so much as hear of an issue, it's not just them, it's their entire graduating class that will have to answer to it, because most kids here are in classes with their entire class the majority of the day. Academically, I know that there's students that struggle. I'm not coming in here and saying I expect everybody to have a 4.0, but I do not. I expect that they are never on the ineligible list. That's unacceptable, and that is not the Bulldog way.
How would you as a coach prepare physically and mentally for an important game?
Physically and mentally, so it starts really it starts the Saturday before, in my opinion. So generally the way I approach any game is I wake up decently early Saturday, have breakfast, kind of get my mind right, and then I'll spend the next 3 to 4 hours, depending on how much film we have to breaking down the game before, whoever we played the week before, the night before, I guess, and then I'm going to spend some time breaking down the film that we have on our next opponent, inputting a lot of data, going over the data, seeing what the data shows us, seeing what we're seeing on film, and then putting that kind of into a game plan. Then as coaching staff, we meet, go over what we all saw, kind of input the game plan together. If we see any glaring holes, we attack it that way. Generally, I try to get a workout 2 or 3 times a weekend. Sundays are a big day for me, and then usually either Monday or Tuesday, and then either Thursday or Friday mornings. It just kind of helps clear my mind, keep my mind right. And so I think mentally and physically those kind of go together. Try and get as much sleep as I can that week. But if it's real big games, I don't sleep a whole lot because I'm up all night stressing about this or that.
Genesis Stoudemire, Ingalls Bulldogs Media. So we touched base on your seniors and how they're going to be role models, but you also have some juniors, Jackson Combs, Logan Simon, Keegan Goddard. What do you expect out of them this season?
I expect all 3 of them to take a real big step forward. I know that we're gonna have a big hole to fill with graduating Langston from last year's team, but I expect those 3 to all step up. I actually told them, I don't expect any of them to try and replace Langston. I don't, I would love to have another Langston, but I don't want them to be. I want them to be Keegan, Logan, and Jackson. I want them to, develop into who they are. I expect really that they're going to take a big step forward, and that, they're going to be 3 guys that, teams are going to have to know where they're at all times on the field.
Shea Maxwell, Ingalls Bulldogs Media. So, what games are you most looking forward to this season, and do you have a plan yet on how you're going to execute them?
So, first one I'm looking forward to is definitely our first game. Try to keep whatever game's right in front of us. I usually, I'll look 2 weeks at a time. So I'm kind of got in my mind what I want to do for Tri-Plains Brewster, how I want to attack them from an offensive standpoint. We've started looking a little bit at Golden Plains since that's week 2, but you honestly could ask me what the schedule is after that. I know who the teams we are playing are, but I don't know what order. So, if there's 2 games on my mind right now, it's week 1, week 2.
Mia Perez, Ingalls Bulldogs Media. Do you feel pretty confident that you have a good set of players this year?
I feel confident we have a great set of players, both physically and personally. From getting to meet them over the summer, they jumped right into work. I believe it was June 2nd or June 3rd was the first time I really met them, and from there I haven't seen anything but hard work. And they have great personalities and they're great human beings. Okay. All right. Thank you all.